I got a vanity light on, the overhead light on. My wife is driving and she's bitching that she can't see, so hopefully we don't crash. You know what I mean?
'Cause everyone's an outlaw until it's time to do outlaw shit.
All right, Coach, we're back with another week at Outlaw Logic, here to break down this weekend's UFC Vegas card. It's been a crazy week for you.
Yeah, JK, it's great to be back on. For our fans, it's we've done some lifestyle stuff in the sense of go on the golf course and bring you the perspective from the golf course. We've also gone and gone internally into Factory X, brought on some of the fighters, talked about fights, seen their personalities. Yeah, now you get to see the real what's going on with me. It's typically on the go and moving and shaking. Obviously, I was in Vegas last week for the fights last Saturday. We had Contender Tuesday. I'm heading back to. I came back to Denver because my son played in his golf regional tournament to qualify for the Colorado State playoffs and the whole state tournament. And so I was back for that for a quick day. Now we're headed back to Vegas. So you guys got me on the road, on the move, and we're going to rip through this thing. You get to see the real what it looks like to do this thing on the go.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, I feel like this is just like you said, this is the true reflection of the day-to-day. Like, you want to see the day-to-day? Well, it's phone calls in the car trying to get from point A to point B, making stuff happen.
JK, I got a vanity light on, the overhead light on. My wife is driving and she's bitching that she can't see, so hopefully we don't crash. You know what I mean?
Well, hopefully that's not the case. Everybody gets where they need to be. But we'll make it short and sweet for that reason, Coach. This weekend in the main event, we have a couple of top 10 lightweights. You have number 6 versus number 7 getting after it. You have Rafael Fiziev taking on Mateusz Gamrot. Styles clash. You've got Muay Thai versus Polish wrestling, pretty much. What are your thoughts on this matchup?
Well, I like this matchup. I think it's fun. I think Fiziev, one of the things that I'm most impressed with Fiziev is that the guy throws nothing but power, but consistently stays in balance. And so most of the time when guys throw a bunch of power, they either get tired and can't sustain it, or they're consistently off balance and they pay for it big time if they can't deliver. And so Fiziev's style of being able to have good volume with power and sustain his balance is uber impressive. I think the only time that we've seen him and his gas tank look a little bit off was when he fought Gaethje, but I don't think that's because of his volume power or the lack of balance. I think that's because Gaethje caught him a few times, put his nervous system on high alert, which then shocked the legs, and that's going to always tax the cardio a little bit. And so, Fiziev is an amazing talent. You got Gamrot, who's going to be a relentless wrestler. He's going to come out and just, I think, instantly he should be shooting. Why stand in front of the guy I just mentioned? I mean, it doesn't make any sense. And with Gamrot's chops in the wrestling world, he is absolutely the prototypical, I'm going to grind this thing out and find my way through this thing, put you on the map, make you pay, tax your batteries, work my top game, and find a finish that way. And so they're both finishers, which is really cool. I think that, with Fiziev's style being coming from a Muay Thai background, his clinch game will always lend into having good wrestling defense. Of course, he's worked his traditional wrestling defense, but his clinch game is going to lend into that big time, and he is not going to be easy to take down. So Gamrot's going to have to figure out how to get into that danger zone and find his takedowns. And that's easier said than done because Gamrot is absolutely an offensive wrestler. So he's he'll use striking to use his wrestling blend. I think one of the keys to success, though, for Gamrot is going to be his patience in learning how to draw Fazeev into his confidence of I can hit Gamrot, but counter wrestle him when he commits and his feet are set. If he doesn't counter wrestle, I think he's going to have a tough time trying to just walk through that danger zone. And with a guy that has power and balance like Fazeev, man, that is a dangerous recipe to try to find success.
Definitely. Now, Coach, do you think that it's worth keeping an eye on for Fazeev, the accumulated damage effect, especially after fighting someone like Justin Gaethje? You know, we've seen some guys in that next appearance after fighting someone like Gaethje. They just and not even just that appearance going forward in their career, they're never really the same. Your Tony Fergusons of the world, James Vicks, Michael Johnsons, some of those guys were never the same after they fought Justin Gaethje. Do you think that's worth keeping an eye on? He didn't finish Fazeev, but he definitely put a beating
on. I think there's been enough time from the last fight until this fight. I think Fazeev and his camp have done a good job of giving him enough time to recover from this. I would say this. I would say I would if you're a betting person, I would say that because of Fazeev's he has been in his war past, and I don't think you've seen that show a chink in his armor in the UFC. And so I don't think you're going to see an accumulated issue from it. I just think that it was a game plan. He's been one of the only ones to really be able to do that. And I think part of that reason is because Gaethje's got power. And if Gaethje wants, he doesn't do it a lot, but if Gaethje wants, he could sustain a fight by wrestling. But the power is part of what gave Gaethje the ability to win and sustain that whole victory that he just had.
Great point. Great point. Now, in the co-main event, it's another top 15 matchup. We've got some featherweights going at it. We have Bryce Mitchell. He's going to be taking on Dan Ige. You have, like I say, a couple of top 15 guys there. Another styles clash. You have primarily jiu-jitsu and a grappler who you had experience, just interacting with on your season of coaching with the Ultimate Fighter. But he's taken on a guy who has fought the who's who in the tops of the featherweight ranks in Dan Ige. I mean, Dan Ige's nickname isn't 50K for no reason. I don't know. I don't like this matchup for Bryce. But what do you think, Coach?
Well, I don't know Ige. I know Bryce because just like you'd mentioned, I was, when I was the coach on the Ultimate Fighter for DC and Stipe's season, Bryce, his grappling is tremendous. And his striking isn't bad either. And he's grown some of his striking into his game to be able to blend well. And so I'll tell you this, if Bryce gets Ige's back, that's going to be a long night for Ige. Ige's takedown defense is good, and obviously he consistently shows really good power on the feet. A grappler versus striker, another matchup, just like the one we spoke about earlier with Fazeev and Gaethje. So you got that whole thing again with the whole grappler versus striker matchup. It's interesting because Ige is shown in the past to have just his volume. He can bring his volume down and still be a sniper with power. He's going to have to do that because he's going to have to fight off the takedown that Bryce is going to just continue to do. Now, what Bryce has done a good job at, I think, recently is he's come in. Everyone knows he's got the grappling acumen that he's got, and he's come in and he's actually struck more with guys in the sense of duration, and then used it to blend his wrestling. That could be a dangerous proposition because Ige is so good at just being patient but still having power and then finding finishes that way. So that could be a dangerous proposition. However, it might be the way for Bryce to win is get Ige confident into the striking battle, and then Ige is confident, like, okay, we're striking, this is what we're doing. And Bryce mix in that takedown that he's done so well at in the past, and then find his way around the mat with Ige. And Ige is not a chump on the ground at all. It's just, man, Bryce's level on the ground is super high level. And I feel like, man, if he gets that back, he's gonna have some success. The big if here is, can he get him to the mat? Because ultimately Bryce has to get him to the mat. And how does he do it? One of the things that Bryce has to do is he's got to get away from some of the power shots. So he's got to work good positioning with his feet. If Bryce stands in the middle and they trade and they're on essentially the center with each other, Bryce is that's not a good recipe for him. If he works good foot angles, both to his right and to his left, and eliminate the center, he'll have the ability to strike a little bit with him, and then blends where Ige won't have full-on strength in being square with his hips, and then you'll see potentially Bryce getting takedown from that. If he stands 50-50 with him, I think that's an Ige victory.
I totally agree. I mean, I see parallels in this matchup to what Dan Ige had with Damon Jackson. I think Bryce is a higher level fighter, obviously, than what Damon Jackson was, but grappling heavy reliance style who went in there. And I mean, Dan boxed him up, and it was a quick night out for him there. But that's a pretty good breakdown of those top two fights on the card there. There's definitely some other fighters on the card. We've got multiple kids from the Denver area on the card, a couple of ours, couple of Ultimate Fighter champions on the card. Is there some other guys that you want to throw out, or another couple of matchups you want to recognize here, Coach?
Yeah, I just want to recognize two of our guys fighting. You got AJ Fletcher fighting, and you've got Cody Brundage fighting this weekend. Tune into that. I will tell you this, I'm not going to shy away from the fact that last weekend we lost. Josh Frem lost. Tuesday in Contender Series, Kobe Jones lost a tough decision. And so I'm not going to shy away from that because, prior to that, we were on a 14-fight win streak as a team leading into last weekend. And our guys are really good at being resilient, and our guys are really good at being winners. And so one of the things I will say is you're going to go into these fights, and not every time are you going to win. However, we're going to see some character revealed in both these guys. Both AJ and Cody are fighting for their jobs, so I think you're going to see some intensity, superior focus, and just a constant threat to win in both of these fights because they're there to continue to build legacy and want to continue to take care of themselves and their families and represent us. And so, I'm excited for this. I'm going back to Vegas. I'm turning burning right now. I'm going back to Vegas. This is prototypical coach life, absolutely. So this is some lifestyle stuff. This is it. And so we're going to turn around. We're going to do it with a smile. I'm excited for those guys, and I get to do all of this. We get to do all this, guys. Go make sure you continue to like, share, and subscribe. We love the feedback you're giving us. We love the traction we're building. Make sure you hit on my boy JK over here. His comments from the Peanut Gallery. He does a phenomenal job. You got questions about fights from 1850 or 2023? This guy's got you, I promise. So, JK, keep up the good work, man. I appreciate you, and to all the fans, thank you for doing this. Appreciate you guys being on this little voyage with me on the road. We're going to get to Vegas right now, and we're going to go find 2 wins.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thanks, Coach. We'll see you guys next week.
All right, guys. Love you. Like, share, and subscribe. We appreciate you.